Welcome to Diary of a Dreamer, where resilience unlocks your potential. I'm Tasha Eisinger, and each week I'll bring you powerful stories and practical insights from my own experiences and inspiring guests. Whether you're facing challenges or chasing dreams, this podcast is your go-to for motivation, building confidence, and practical tips for transforming obstacles into opportunities. Be sure to check out my website, tashaeisinger.com. Let's dive into today's episode and start turning your dreams into reality. Suzana, check out my shirt.
All right, I see you. Damn.
Yeah, I was so excited to wear it today. So for everybody listening, I'm here with Suzana, and she is such an inspiration. I've been wanting to interview you for quite a while now, actually. And for those who don't know Suzana, she comes from this incredibly strong family. I've gotten to meet several of your family members, and I love the support that you have with each other. I also really respect the fact that you're a first generation college grad. And not only that, Suzana has a master's degree. So it just went to the next level. Yeah. And she is Indiana's first Latina professional boxer and the first Latina female-owned boxing promotion CEO.
Yes.
So I feel like it's like, what can't you do?
I can't do a handstand unassisted. I cannot do that unassisted.
And you own a gym, so that makes me feel better that that's one thing you can't do.
There you go.
I love that. Okay, so you're human then. I appreciate that. So I knew you obviously in high school, but I hung out more with like the swimmers and stuff. I played soccer JV one year and was not good. And so we were kind of in different circles and everything, but I always knew that you were a fierce competitor, really a kind person, and a true badass. And as I've watched you on social media and continue to interact with you, it still holds true. That's who you are.
Very good. Even at 40.
So how in the world did you get started in boxing? Because you weren't doing that in high school, were you?
No, I was not. Actually, I wanted to play soccer in college.
Okay.
And my freshman year, I went and I tried out, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you as a goalie, but you're a freshman, so you're probably going to be on the bench because we already have a senior who will start. And I think it was my ego that said, I don't do the bench.
That's the competitor in you.
Yeah, right. But I should have tried and fought my way through it. Instead, I chose not to, and I just was a student. But that actually opened up a different door, right? Sometimes when one door is not available, you either bust through it and force it to happen, or you go around and you find something different, something you never even thought was possible. And my summer after my freshman year in college, that's when I chose to go to a boxing gym. I'd actually heard about it during my freshman year in school, but the person that I had dated at that time was like, oh, don't do it. There's a lot of bad energy over there, right? And so I did not. I listened to the boyfriend and I chose not to go.
First life hack, don't listen to the boyfriend, right?
He's just a boyfriend, okay? Move on and do what you want to do with it. So we broke up, and first thing I did when I broke up is I went to that boxing gym. And
good for you.
Yeah, one punch changed everything, right? I initially did it just for fun, learn how to defend myself. In college, you come together with a whole bunch of people from around the state and around the world. And so you get different energies. I was stepped into the boxing gym again just to learn something new. And I ended up finding a passion. I found a liking for it that developed into a love, and then it developed into a passion. So yes, that's how I got started.
That's amazing. So when did you decide to go pro, and how does that even work?
Mm-hmm. So in boxing, to become a professional is really not as hard as it sounds. You have to have some experience first. And depending on the states, will depend on how much level of of base you need prior to turning professional. In the state of Indiana, you have to have at least 10 rounds of amateur boxing experience in the ring. I went from 10 rounds requirement to almost 2 decades of development. I probably ought to have gone pro a long time ago, but like I told somebody else, you're either a car or a truck. And no matter how much you want to be a car, if you're a truck, you're a powerful truck. And so you need to move forward in that direction. I tried to stay in a pond too long. But with that, I also was able to develop some skills, some IQ, elevation, and a different sense of who I am as a fighter, right? Like I said, almost 20 years as an amateur, built some great accolades, national competition placements. I won the National Women's Golden Gloves. That's back when women were separate. We were segregated from men in the competition field. Not just, women can't fight men, but even in the tournaments, women go over here, men proceed in this normal direction. So built national accolades, built international placements as well. I was placed number 2 in the world, which is great. And then I found my husband, and I ended up becoming pregnant shortly after we got married. And so I put a pause in my competition, went back in to compete, and then at 39, I said, I better hurry up and do this thing. If I don't, I'll be too old that they won't allow me to get in the door. And so at 39, I turned pro.
That's so cool. And the round 1, that was your first pro fight that I got to see?
Right, yes.
Girl, I left my booth. I was like, I've got to watch Suzana.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing seeing you in that ring and your strength. I could see like how you were calculating the whole time. You're not just like randomly throwing punches. Like you are using your brain and your physique to think it through.
Yes.
So there's a lot more strategy, I feel like, than what people probably realize.
Yes. And once you eliminate the chaos, which really that's where, boxing is like life. There's chaos all around you, in your surroundings, on your shoulders from kids, right? In your own mind from the things that we put barriers on ourselves against. But in boxing, you have those same kind of chaoses around you, and you tame the tiger within so you can execute what you want to do. And that comes with development, right? And IQ elevations.
Do you ever do like meditation or martial arts to help you hone in on focusing?
Yes. So especially before a fight, when I'm running, I'll throw my hands up in the air in victory, and I'm imagining my hands being lifted as the winner in my fight. Prior to, whatever it is I'm doing, same thing. We're thinking about what our game plan is in that fight. Of course, you never know what's going to come at you, but in thinking about all the different angles, it helps you be prepared. Kind of like motherhood, right? In motherhood, you think about all the things that might come around. So you have backup clothes. Depending on your age of the child, you have some backup diapers, extra formula, even for yourself as a person. Maybe you got snacks in your car or in your purse or in your backpack in case you might need it.
Yes. Although today, I made sure my girls were ready for school. We get in the car. I'm like, I don't even have a coat. Come on, Mom, get it together. But you're right. You got to have all these plans as a mom.
Yes.
So one of the things I really appreciate about social media is being able to follow you all these years. And you have shared a little bit about your Mexican heritage.
Yes.
And it inspires me so much to hear about your family and how beautiful your family is and the strength of your family. Can you share some of that with all of us?
Yeah. So I am, the world right now is crazy. I am a root of resilience and passion and dedication and determination and hard work. So one of the things that I really appreciate is the fact that, again, if I comment on my schooling, I was able to go to school all the way up and to receive my master's degree. I think, if I'm honest, I really didn't have to do much juggle growing up. My parents allowed me to be a student and to be an athlete and not really have to worry about the responsibilities of assisting my parents in the finance, right?
Mhm.
My parents, when they were kids, they did have to help their parents out financially. So they had to go work and then help feed the homes, right? Even going all the way back to when my parents were younger kids, 12 and under, they had to work in the fields to help their parents as well. And so when I think about the beautiful opportunities that I have, they're all a root of going back to my parents and my great grandparents and then my great great grandparents, right? And all the struggles that they had gone through. Maybe they didn't necessarily see it as a struggle, but rather as a juggle. And yet in current time, in like current moment of times, man, that looks like a struggle to me, right? My juggles are different. And as we proceed in the generations, you know, there's a lot of similarities and yet there's not. Like I said, my family worked in the fields as migrant workers. So they would travel from Texas all the way up to Wisconsin to Indiana. Depends on what they needed to pick as to where the work would be, as to how far they would have to go. But they worked with their hands. I'm very blessed that I get to work with my hands, but in a different degree, right? I get to lift things because I want to. I get to punch things because I want to. And I get to help teach other people those same things to help improve themselves internally and physically. But it's a very different dynamic than what my parents and my great parents grew up in.
Well, I'm sure they're all so proud of your work ethic, though, because that has carried through everything you're doing. So you may have life more on your terms than what they had, but their sacrifices are honored through your work ethic to
Yes.
create a beautiful family and future for your kids.
Yes, I agree on that 100.
Yeah. So you are a business owner and have been able to survive all the craziness of business ownership and make a career of it. I do know there's got to be business owners listening. Like, what tips do you have? And can you share like all the things that you do? Because you're not a one business owner. You got lots going on.
Got a lot going on. That is true. So I have owned SRG Boxing Gym here in Indianapolis for almost 14 years now, which is
That's
just
wild.
yes. We survived, the COVID pandemic when everybody was on lockdown. I'm very thankful for my clientele for that because they could have shut down as well, right? We all learned some lessons during that time frame about ourselves and about the people in our circles. But we were able to thrive during that pandemic time frame. A lot of 99.9% of our clients continued with their gym membership, and majority of my clients, about the same percentage to be honest, converted to virtual training. I still have people who continue virtual training just because it's convenient for them, but that has allowed us to continue forward these past 14 years. I also own La Jefa Promotions, which is that t-shirt that you're wearing there. The first female-owned boxing promotion company here in Indiana. I started that because during the time that I wanted to convert as a pro, I would knock on the door and not a lot of people open that door for me. Even with all my accolades, I'm still a female, and a female athlete is still perceived to be secondary to the male. And so, it was one of those, well, we can't fit you in on this moment. Even though I'm very unique, I couldn't fit you in. So I built that business to allow other women, create a platform for other women to compete on a professional level. That's the second business that I have there. I also own a website that does online drop shipping products, so online commerce. And then recently I started working. Yeah, I know, right?
As if you
Recently,
need another thing.
as a tutor in a public school, and I was able to apply my undergrad degree to help teach other kids how to read. And that's probably been I really like that. I'm able to actually use the degree because sometimes you don't. My master's degree is in business and public administration. So technically, I'm doing some of those skills in day-to-day business tasks. But the tutoring part I really like because I can apply my boxing training and implement that into the education aspect. And when we think about that part, you know, we're expecting kids as a society to sit down in a chair and behave from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That's a long time. If we as adults are sitting in a conference and listening on redundancy to 2 or 3 speakers, you know, your joints start to ache. You feel slow and sluggish physically, let alone mentally. So for me in tutoring the kids, I'm kind of seeing a reiteration of the importance of movement and stimulation because that has a huge influence on the brain. And we can go into a longer conversation with all of that. But those are some of the things that I currently do on top of having 2 teenagers and a husband and a lot of dogs.
I kind of wonder if a year from now, if we talk, I'll be like, what else are you doing? I don't know how you'd fit it in though.
I have one more thing on my list of things to do that I hope to be able to add here in the next 12 months. So if we speak again, we'll have another one to add on.
We'll have to do a recap.
Yes, yes.
I love that. And, you know, I also think like what you've learned in boxing, all the mindset tricks, teaching those kids how to read, a lot of it's boosting their confidence too and keeping them mentally strong. So not only recognizing they need to be moving, I think, I don't know what the neuroscience says, but I think your brain starts shutting down after about 16 minutes of sitting. Like you need to be up and moving. I don't know if you know.
Something like that. I don't know the exact, the factual number on that, but
yeah,
I believe it and I see it with the kids that I'm working with. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's amazing that you get to do that with the kids. Now let's go back to your promotion company. Do you do all of the production of the videos? Like where are your hands involved with all of that? Because I was watching some of your videos and they're so cool.
Yes. Yes, they are cool, but no, I don't do all of it. With my business, with SRG Boxing, I do a lot of stuff, right? I wear so many hats, which most small business owners, that is where we are. I spoke to someone at a local restaurant who had a complaining customer. And I told the owner, I said, I get it. You know, we're going to help attend to our customer. And then when nobody's in there, we're probably also the people who are cleaning things. And then we got to get to the computer and do the social media aspect of things, let alone handle ourselves and world around us. But when it comes to the promotion company, I am thankful to be able to outsource a lot of that work. My committee is a group of 5 women. So it's an all woman owned business for sure. And majority of the people who work for me, really all of them, are women. The videography part I outsource, and thus far they've been men. I try to do a lot of minority directed. A lot of the stuff that's been eliminated in the world the past 2 months is what thrives and what I really strive to sustain in my promotion company, because that's what makes that makes us who we are.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so important too, just to hit on diversity a bit. You want to have people who think differently than you, who look at things differently than you, who come from different backgrounds, because if it's all just you, your business is stagnant and flat.
Exactly. And you might get some unique ideas that you didn't consider before, or your idea is not always good money, right? Sometimes we have some great ideas and then we just need to pitch it until we can actually digest what we are thinking, and someone else tells us that doesn't sound like, maybe redirect it a little bit or maybe reset it.
Exactly. One of the things that you did is let me backtrack for a second. First of all, I love that you're super confident. You are a very confident woman. You are also humble. And that is reflected on your social media. You will publicly, I've seen you apologize like, hey, I was wrong. I'm learning. And I'm like, it just makes me love you even more, Suzana, when you do stuff like that, because you are so confident and strong. And that, to me, the humility shows true strength. On top of that, when you were doing round one, there was an idea I had or something, because I was a vendor there. And you said, let me check. I want to do that, but let me check with my directors. Can you hit on that? Because it kind of ties into what you were saying. You don't want yes people around you. You want people who will challenge you.
Yes, absolutely. Because not all of your ideas are great. And sometimes, it's okay to have a plan to go forward. Sometimes your detours aren't detours to stop you, but rather to allow you to continue forward. And so you have to have those right people in place. Absolutely.
So what do you look for in those people? Obviously, they can't be just people who always say yes and say, yes, Suzana, I'll do as you wish, right? But what are some qualities that you look for in those type of people?
So in my particular committee, all of those women have skill sets that I don't have. And some of them have things that I'm still trying to imitate them, but I just can't do it on point. And they're all my clients. That's another thing. 2 of those women actually fought for me as my boxers on my competition team. And then the other women are my clients, but they have skills that I don't have, or they work in that field that I've never tapped into. One lady does all of our graphic design. That is her business. And so I'm thankful she's one of my old fighters. She's still active in my team as well and in the gym. Another person does a lot of project management and very good with the 1s and 2s as far as the vocal. So I can put her in any location and she shines. That's a skill set. Even though I am, outgoing, I don't always, I kind of look mean sometimes. I got this little Mexican eyebrows, the Rodriguez eyebrows. So I look like a man, but I'm really not. I'm just thinking. She just fits in great with everywhere she's at. Another person is, so everybody has things that I'm just not that networked in, right? But I like the fact that even though they're clients and during the training, they are a yes person because there's a reason why they came to train with me. When it comes to the committee, they're not yes people. If my idea is not great, or if somebody else interjects an idea in the roundtable discussion and it's not a good one, we squash it, we move forward. Our motto has been greatness or nothing. And if it's not great, it might be a good idea for someone else, but it's not for us to continue with, right? Or it might not be for this moment. It's great to have multiple facets of consideration, but you work on one task at a time. And if it's not for this season, but for 2 years from now, we write it on the board and we keep that as that sticky note goal.
I love that. So it sounds like you surround yourself with strong women.
Yes, yes. I have a guy, but we had a guy in our first rotation who, again, is one of my old fighters. We all decided that sponsorship was probably his best rotation as far as involvement, because he also has a business. So again, it's great to have people, yes, people, no, not right now, people, I can help you here, but I can't help you there, people. Everybody is needed. Everybody matters to some degree in a certain situation, in a certain season of time.
So it sounds like you have strong clarity on where you're going and who you want to associate with, and you're good at putting plans in place. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, I definitely agree with that. It's good. One thing that I want to comment with that is I have that, and yet I don't always have that. And so
Fair.
It's really great to know, like, sometimes I doubt myself. And so I pitch it to my committee. And they sometimes come back at me and tell me, fix your crown. It was good. Keep going, right?
Oh,
Or
that's great.
say, hey, no, that's not a good idea. Let's switch to a different angle. Yes.
Okay, so I love that you hit on the fact that sometimes even you, somebody who was ranked second in the world at one point, multiple businesses, master's degree, you are successful in many areas of life, and you still sometimes have self-doubt. So it sounds like have people around you to lift you up. What are some other things that you do to work through your self-doubt?
Well, I'm very thankful that my husband is a strong supporter. And while I seem very confident all of the time, I'm not always confident. And I think this past year, I also commented a lot on my social media. Never before would I have thought that I would have moments of depression and doubt and anxiety, but I definitely have seen that in myself in the past 3 years, little pockets of that, right? And I think it's important to comment that because a lot of times you only see one image in the world and you don't know the reality of the chaos that's going on and the pressure that other people are feeling within. Your first book that you wrote resonated really strongly for me because I agree with that little star. I feel like that little star sometimes, right? But when you put yourself up there, you don't always know that other people are looking at that star in the world. Even though you might be small to some, you are shining to a lot of other people who have, you might not have any idea, you know? What do I do in those moments? I'll pitch those ideas. Sometimes I got to look at myself in the mirror and put myself in check, right? And sometimes I got to let those cries and those tears come out because that is pressure that is needs released.
Yeah. And it's healthy to
And
cry.
sometimes
It's not a sign of weakness.
no, no, not at all. I think a lot of times I definitely know when I'm feeling pinched, feeling like I'm tight in a moment, lifting. When you work out, you're releasing those endorphins. And if you think about I think it's a warhead or a crybaby. It's one of those candies I don't eat, but I did when I was a kid. You know, where the brain is pressured up and he explodes? That's kind of like what working out does. Even if you don't work out on a consistent basis, give yourself about five little workouts and feel how everything releases once you're done with the workout. Yes, you feel some kind of way, but you feel more clarity. You have more lightness to you, right? And then you can think a little clearer and maybe even have better ideas than you did before.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need to like take a minute, right? Take a minute for yourself, go for a walk, get some fresh air.
Yes,
Sometimes we complicate it.
as a mom, I remember when my kids were younger, and I'd say, "You need a nap," or if they got in trouble, "You need a timeout." As an adult, I would love to take a nap right now or to have a timeout where nobody, you leave me be and let me digest. Those are important moments. I wish we as adults took those more frequently as we did as a child, right?
Yes. So what kinds of tips do you have for anybody in business?
Say if you're thinking about starting your own business, one of my boxers actually just started a business a couple months ago, which is great. And he said, "Oh yeah, it's just going to be a lot better than working a regular 9 to 5." But the thing about owning your own business is there is no 9 to 5, and there is no 1 to 2. There is 24/7, and you're always growing. You're always challenged. It's very rewarding, like parenting. Owning your own business is like being a parent. It's very rewarding and it's very challenging. You're happy when things go great, and you're like, "What the heck?" when things go wrong. But it is what you decide to make of it, right? I would also say, as far as a trainer, you see who I am now, but you don't know everybody who helped build me up and become who I am today, right? They're not always behind me visually. When I moved here to Indianapolis, I was a personal trainer at a couple of different locations. One of those locations was Gold's Gym, and that's where I met my husband. And another location was a private studio. And that woman gave me a great advice tip. And she said, before you open up your own doors, make sure that you have at least 10 quality clients who will travel with you anywhere. That's almost like your base board, right? And then you can grow and add upon that foundation. I'm thankful that she told me that. That was maybe almost 20 years ago, about 18 years ago. And it's crazy because even to this day, I still have one of my clients for the past 18 years. She is on my committee. She is retired now, so she has some flexibility to do what she wants in her life. But wow, I have a lot of clients who have been with me before I met my husband, before I had my kids, through my business. You know, they're long term, they're clients, but they're friends, they're like family. So,
okay, let's hit on that. Just a second, Suzana. We got to hit on that because I disagree when people say that you should only have like this barrier kind of as a business owner and not make it like family. But when you're saying you have clients that have been with you this long, that is family. So how do you create that dynamic? Because it's important. It shouldn't just be all business.
yes, and you know, you kind of know energies speak. Even with no words, energy speaks. And those particular clients, I didn't open up my Facebook platform to them. You know, back then, I mean, I think I had it back then. But it's that loyalty. It's that understanding between each other. Just like when you're speaking with someone, you might not tell them all your business of what's going on in your world. And as you develop a relationship, it becomes easy, right? But you shouldn't force things either. And not everybody I train would I consider a friend or a family member. There are some people, the energy just doesn't jive. So we just stick to business. I train you, I care about you, I care about your health, and I want you to be your best. But on certain social media platforms like Facebook, I do disclose a lot of my personal, my kids. Those are like my best treasure, right? So I'm not going to open up that door to everybody. Instagram is kind of like your normal life and your normal business. It's there for social, it's there for soliciting, but at least I don't put all my business out there for the world to see. That's kind of like the open door policy of my gym. Everybody is welcome. I don't care. I don't care who you are, where you came from, who you want to be, how you want to get there. As long as you're here to learn and grow and be your better self, that is my goal for everybody that walks in my door.
I love that. And one of the things you hit on directly and indirectly is that you care about the people, and people know when you care. And I feel like if you can do that and truly mean it, then loyalty naturally follows.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody, like, it's interesting when they walk in the gym. I love it. This energy is just, it's like your home, which is beautiful because that is always what we want to generate, right? That's the energy I want to portray and provide to everybody that walks in the door. One time, a couple of weeks ago, someone walked in the door and they said, "Oh, this is cool. It's kind of like vintage, like 90s, early 2000s." I thought, Lord, that was when I was cool. So I guess now I'm vintage, but I'll take it. As long as it makes it feel good, I'll take it.
At least they didn't say antique.
Yeah, right? True.
Vintage still sounds kind of cool, I guess. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness, Suzana. I'm so thankful. You've been on my list from the very beginning of somebody that I wanted to interview you. And I'm talking years ago because I had to take a break for a while from this. So this has been so much fun visiting with you and, of course, being inspired by you. How can people get in touch with you? And I know that you would share that you might have a promotional offer as well.
Yep. So you can contact me on my socials, right? Now I feel like the speeches, those are like the normal speeches, like, share, follow, tag, all that money. You can find me on Instagram. It's SRG Boxing Coach. You can also find my businesses on there at SRG Box Gym is our Instagram tag. I think that's the wording they use. Jefa Promotions, you can find that on there as well. That will tell you about a lot of our upcoming fights, like the one we've got coming up May 17th. That's downtown at the Tyndall Armory. And then you can find me on Facebook as well, Suzana Rodriguez-Griffin. If I don't know you, then you want to find me at Suzana Latina Style Rodriguez-Griffin. And that takes you to my boxing profile page. And so everybody's welcome to follow that. I try my best to put information out there. I'm more steady when it comes to SRG Boxing Facebook. That's where I put a lot of the things that we have upcoming. That's where you can also find some of the promotions that we're offering, like the free Sunday class. My husband teaches a 3 p.m. challenge class. Remember, challenge is tough, but it's only as tough as you make it for yourself. So we don't force you to do anything. There's always ways to make a modification to something. I just spoke at a Chamber of Commerce meeting a couple days ago, and I made that comment, modification, and it was like I opened up the door to the world of a closed opportunity to many people. Remember that you can do anything you want to, right? You might have to modify it. You might have to take it slow. You might take a while, but it's okay as long as you are making an actual attempt to improve yourself and your own life and your own health and your own fitness. Modifications work great, and you don't need anybody's permission to do those things.
I love that, Suzana. Actually, have you heard of Darren Hardy and the compound effect?
No, but I've heard the compound effect.
You are a living example of the compound effect and exactly what you were talking about of taking those steps. It's okay to modify and adjust. Just keep moving forward and you will get results. And you know what's sad is if you don't move forward, you're also going to get results, just not the ones you want.
Yep, exactly. That is true.
Yeah, so you're a perfect example of that. And this has been such a pleasure visiting with you. Thank you for your time, Suzana.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Diary of a Dreamer. I hope you found the stories and tips shared today to be a source of motivation and strength. Remember, every challenge you face is a chance to grow and move closer to your dreams. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with anyone who could use a boost of encouragement. Please check out my website, TashaIsinger.com.